Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer and today is Friday. And if you've been around for any amount of time, you know that Friday is Yarn Pull Friday. What does that mean? That means I bought some yarn and I'm about to show it to you, okay? Now, I said this in Wednesday's video. I had a little bit of money left over after my couch fund. After I purchased the couch and the area rug for my living room, I had a little bit of money left over for my couch fund, so I spent it on yarn. Yes, I did. And I have no regrets. Now, what I really wanted to do is go to either Richmond and go to that yarn store, which is called Knitting Bee, or go to Culpeper and go to Knitwit. But I decided last minute because I was saving some money for an area rug along with the couch. I wanted an area rug to go with the couch and didn't know how much an area rug was going to cost. It was a lot less than I thought it was going to be. I was thinking like $200 and up, and it was under $100. So I had a little bit of money and I was like, all right, well, since I got a little bit of money, can we just stop by the yarn shop while we're out at the post office picking up the mail? And Mr. Cinnamon very happily obliged. I'm getting around a lot better on my boot. I'm trying to still be like careful because I definitely overdid it last weekend. And I got something in my eye. And I caused pain and bruising to my foot, but I'm getting around a lot better and I'm definitely keeping my feet up. You guys know. Bentley, I just could sense your energy back there, bud. I didn't even know you were in here. I could feel that he was back there. I didn't know he was back there. I closed the door after Scarlett exited. I didn't realize he came in too. So I went to a local yarn shop to me that I had never been in before. Now, I told you guys a while ago I went to a yarn shop over by the hospital by where we live. And that store has since closed and it was not my favorite store. The energy is kind of like, if I don't like the energy in a store, I don't go back. And it's not that it was bad energy. It just was like, I don't know. I don't know how to, it didn't feel welcoming. It didn't feel home. Like some stores, they're really super friendly. They want to help you. They want to talk about yarn and talk about what you're working on and talk about all those things. And that store that I previously mentioned it closed. It doesn't exist anymore. Okay. They went out of business. I didn't get that from that shop, but this other store that I went to buy this yarn is also in the same city. It's the sister store to that store, so they took all of that store inventory and took it over to, it's called Finnegan's Run. I hate saying the name of the store because I don't want people to get a negative connotation when I say that it's not my favorite store. It's not my favorite store. Like by a long shot, it's not my favorite store. If I'm going to go to a yarn shop, I'm going to go to Knitting Bee in Richmond, or I'm going to go to Knitwit in Culpeper, or even Dances with Wool in, I think it's in Richmond. Dances with Wool is another really good yarn store. And here are the reasons why Finnegan's Run is not my favorite. It's not that they weren't friendly. They were actually very welcoming and talkative. They don't carry the type of yarns that I gravitate towards, and I had a little bit of a struggle finding anything. Their color base are really dull to me. Some of you would absolutely love the store. The colors are they're not bright and vibrant and fun and sunshiny and neon-y and explosion of colors, and a lot of their yarn is all one color yarn, like non-variegated yarn. And I like a good hand-painted, vibrant, speckly, watercolory yarn. You guys know that's why Koigu is my favorite yarn. And another reason I treated myself to high-end yarns is because on the sweater, the Koigu sweater that I made, Bentley, I'm coming through, bud. I used so much yarn that I emptied half of my shelf. Okay, so every time you see a color, I used a full skein of yarn. The collar here took 1, 2, 3 hanks of yarn. This is a hank of yarn, that's a hank of yarn, that's a hank of yarn, this is 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 a hank of yarn. I used a lot of hanks. So, and the sleeves were 4 hanks, 2 for each sleeve. So, actually, we're going to put this on since we're talking about the bougiest of the bougie yarn. It's going to go really good with my Fallout Boy alien shirt. This shirt says a lyric from one of their songs that I absolutely love. It says, "I'd never go, I just wanted to be invited. I'd never go." That's my boyfriend right there, Patrick Stump. Mr. Cinnamon knows it's alright. I'd never go, I just want to be invited. Oh. Alright, so enough of Cinnamon Stitches singing. Another thing, aside from Finnegan's Run not having a lot of Cinnamon Stitches colors, their prices for some of the yarn were over what I wanted to pay for them. I will say that. They were on the high end of yarns. And the reason I say that is because I know what these yarns cost in other yarn shops and I didn't like the prices. So what I bought was, I bought myself 2 expensive yarns. Okay? You guys are going to be like completely blown over by these prices. But like I said, it was extra money that I had left over from the couch fund. So in girl math, it was almost free. So I had $100 left over from the couch fund, okay? It was, my total was $130.88. So technically, because the $100 came from the couch fund, I only paid $30 out of pocket. In girl math, okay? In girl math. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. All this yarn cost $30 out of my bank account. Alright, so with that, I will show you the high-end ones, the expensive ones last. And then we'll start with the affordable ones. They gave me this really weird bag. It's reusable. It feels like that weird material that is connected underneath your mattress for the bed skirt. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like, is it paper? Is it material? I don't know. I don't like the way that bag feels. Alright, so to start, I was drawn to these because, I don't know if I can turn my light down. I was drawn to these because these were only $8. I was also drawn to them because they're speckly. That's pretty darn accurate. So it's not a white base, it's like a yellowy white base with pink and yellow and orange speckles, which I'm not a fan of orange, and Laura from Mad Mimi can tell you this because she teases me all the time. But if you put orange with yellow and pink, I'm in love with it. Like all of a sudden. So I really, this just is like pink grapefruit or like citrus. I don't know. I just love it. So this is Barocco Vintage Baby Handprints. It is 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 8% nylon. It's made in Peru. It is 145 yards, machine wash, inside out, in cold water, gentle cycle, tumble dry, low. It is a DK weight. So I got 2 in this colorway, and this color is color 10192. Got 2 in that colorway because I was kind of in love with that. And these were only $8.90, which is a pretty good deal. Okay, and then I got 2 in this colorway. This is the exact same yarn. It was the same price. And this colorway is... these are 2 different colors. Gosh darn it. Alright, so this one is 10194 and this is 10190. Don't they look the same? And now that I'm looking at it, this one is yellow and blue and this one is blue and orange and pink. In the store they looked exactly the same, but they are not. And Mr. Cinnamon even thought they were the same. But that's fine because you know why? Because now I can mix these into the project if I want, because that makes it a fade. Right? Girl math. And then I got this one because of the blue in here. I thought it would look really pretty in between these, which it totally will. And this is vintage DK. So that's the baby. This is the vintage baby DK. This is the vintage DK. It is a machine washable blend. This was $10.50. This one is, what is the yardage? This is 290 yards. These are 145 yards. Insane, just because there's specs on it. This was $10.50. I really like this blue color though. This is, let me see, is it the same? 52 acrylic, 40 wool, 8% nylon is the same base, except it's the solid. But this was like the most colorful yarn that they had in the store that was closest to what Cinnamon Stitches likes. And then Mr. Cinnamon saw this one and I had to have it. I did not like the price for this at all. I really like these type of marled yarns because they look hand spun, and I have a couple of hanks that are similar to this where it's just these wild colors, and I'm really drawn to this. And this is Manos de Uruguay Marla. And this is 100% superwash merino. It's 273 yards. Hand wash and machine wash and dry flat. There are no two identical skeins. Each one is unique. This skein was made by, I can't read her handwriting. It was made by this person. Can't read any of that. Manos del Uruguay is a not-for-profit organization created in 1968 to bring economical and social opportunities to Uruguayan rural women. Wow, that's a tongueful. We are organized in cooperatives throughout Uruguay countryside where we spin and hand dye our yarns. And I am almost positive that this is a 3-weight because it was on the 3-weight wall. It, like I said, it was $44, but is that not stunning? And if I wanted to, I could mix it with that. Oh, that's gorgeous. This might not go with that baby yarn. These just might go together. I didn't even put these together in the store, but man, that's so pretty. It's so pretty. And then this one is Urban Girl Yarns. Urban Girl Yarns. This was $34. This is the colored cucumber slices. Mr. Cinnamon actually picked this one out. He really liked the way it looked. This is fingering weight. The fiber base is Virginia fingering. Urban Girl Yarns. 480 yards. 2-ply. 90 superwash merino, 10% nylon. Colored cucumber slices. Virginia local dyer. UrbanGirlYarns.com. Woo woo! Shout out to Urban Girl Yarns. Isn't this pretty? So when I go to a local yarn shop, one of the first things I look for is local dyers. Local dyers, like that's the first thing. None of those are local. Like Barocco is a name brand. Manos de Uruguay obviously is not local because that's from Uruguay. I always try to buy from at least one local dyer. In the past, at my other favorite yarn stores, I have purchased and really love Adirondack Yarn Company, which is not local to me, but it's a local dyer in New York. And then there's Flying Goat Farms, which I believe is in Maryland, but she could be Virginia, but I think she's in Maryland. Flying Goat Farms. Who else? So when I saw the Urban Girl Yarns, I was like, well, we're going to support Urban Girl Yarns. So this is $34. And a little bit higher than I would like to spend. The $34 for this is about average. Like for a local yarn dyer, it's between $28 and $34, sometimes up to $38. I have never had the Manos de Uruguay, but I fell in love with it. And when Mr. Cinnamon showed it to me, I was like, okay, I kind of have to have that. I don't know what I'm going to make out of any of this yarn. I just wanted it, and I wanted to have something to play with, and I wanted something to restock some of the hand dyeds that I have used up in this beautiful sweater. I want to make more projects like this. And I was really thinking, oh, before we get to that, they also gave me free needle top pointers, or needle point toppers. This is to hold the yarn on your needles. I've never used them, but I figured these could come in handy, and they're super, super cute. She also had Christmas ones, and they retail for $7, so that was a $7 free gift. Got my receipt right there. So after I made this sweater, I'm thinking, okay, I have had this conundrum before. I have all this beautiful hand-dyed, like, luxurious yarn. And I know not everybody can afford this type of yarn, and not everybody can use it because they can't use wool. And like, there's 100 reasons why I'm so blessed to be able to get some of these beautiful yarns in my hands, okay? And I'm saving them for a special project, and I cannot get my mind off of I need to knit with these, because why is there a mindset that local yarn shops and bougie expensive yarns are for knitters? Why is that? And even in my brain, I cannot wrap my brain around why I want to knit these and not crochet them, because obviously crochet is beautiful with this yarn too. Does it look different? Yeah. Is it less fabulous? No. Why can't I wrap my brain around that? I don't understand. So I told you guys at the beginning of the year, I made goals for myself for this year. And then I told you again in September when I decided to stop buying yarn to be able to afford the couch. I had goals and I had things I wanted to do that I was putting off, and making something big and large for myself out of the Koigu was a big milestone that I wanted to do this year. I wanted to do that for myself. I wanted to use this luxurious yarn and give it a purpose, and I wanted to wear something fantastic out of this yarn. It's gorgeous and it's soft and squishy and it just feels good, and I just love the colors. Okay, I'm still stuck with thinking that I have to knit this. And I think part of it is the yarn is expensive. Some are more expensive than others, but when the yarn is expensive, you want it to stretch as far as you can, because maybe you can only afford one hank, right? So if you spend $30 on something like that, $30 better be a whole shirt, because that's a lot of money. I don't spend $30 on a shirt for myself. So it better stretch. And the best way to stretch the yarn is to knit, because knitting takes up 30% less than crochet. And sometimes more than that, because depending on what stitches you're using, right? And so all of that is in my head, and I'm like trying to get the most for my money, and I'm trying to get the biggest, and because I am a very large woman, it goes even less on my body. Like, it doesn't stretch as far. So for this, like, I don't even know how many skeins I used. At least 10, probably 15. That's a lot of money, because each skein is like $8 to $15. So I mean, it's an expensive garment, and so like, you want it to stretch as far as you can. But here's the problem: I don't like knitting big items at all, and because I'm a big person, all of my items that I'm knitting for my body are large and take a lot of yarn. So now I am really talking to myself and making myself wake up and realize that I can give myself permission to crochet every one of these bougie fancy yarns that are labeled to be for a knitter, because they're not. And I encourage my crochet girls out there to go if you can afford it. And if you want to work with these yarns, go to your local yarn shop and let them know that crocheters are out there. Because also, like, I've also noticed, like, a lot of the local yarn shops just completely cater to knitters. Completely cater to knitters. And they automatically assume when you go in there, you're a knitter. And I don't like that. So, I'm trying to get my crocheters out there and be like, let's let the world know we're out here. So when Koigu shared my sweater, I was so proud of myself. Not just that they shared it as a creator, but that they shared it as a crocheter. Because a lot of Koigu stuff, all their patterns, like all the stuff they're sharing, it's knit. A lot of it's knit, like 90% of it's knit. And a lot of these hand-dyed yarn companies, like when they show something that's been made out of their yarn, it's knit. Because yes, it shows off the color and it shows off the dye really neat. But I mean, so does crochet. So does crochet. And you can get really creative with your crochet stitches and really make those colors and designs just pop. And when I went to Knitting Bee last time, which was several months ago, and Knitting Bee again is in Richmond, I went to Knitting Bee and she showed me 2 samples of the same yarns that I purchased from Wonderland Yarns, and it's beautiful. And she showed me the 2 samples, and I like the crochet one better because, and it's, I don't remember which Wonderland one it was, but it had like spots on it. Like it was a solid color yarn, and then there was like a section at the end of the yarn that was just speckles. And when you knit it, it makes little tiny micro stripes of speckles, which is cool. But somebody crocheted it in granny stitch, and it looked like little patches of flowers amongst green grass. And it was the most beautiful yarn I've ever seen crocheted up. And I was like, okay, I'm buying that yarn and I am crocheting the heck out of it. I haven't found the right project yet, but rest assured, I have it caked up in one of these boxes. My bougie yarn is in boxes on the top of these 2 shelves right here that you guys never see because it's behind the camera. I'm trying to see which one it's in. I think it's in that one. It just gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was more beautiful crocheted than knit. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the person who's crocheting up the bougie fancy yarn. And so we can see what it looks like crocheted up. So we got a better idea. So with that, I invested in the channel. I'm going to do some yarn reviews on some bougie yarns. Affordable bougie yarns. I'm not reviewing $45 and $34 yarns, and I'm not reviewing local dyers because I'm not. Because if I have a bad opinion about the yarn with a local dyer, that can affect their business, and I'm not doing that. Like, I'm supporting, like, if you have a local dyer you love, buy from them. If you go to a store and you see local dyer yarn that just, like, screams at you to buy it, if you can afford it, buy it. Like, if you have a favorite dyer, I mean, support them. Even if, and the way you can support local indie dyers, local yarn dyers, is sharing their content or interacting with their content the same way you can support me. Like their posts, comment on their posts. It helps. It really, really helps. It helps other people to see it. So, same thing with your local yarn shops. If you don't want them to go out of business, interact with their stuff as much as you can. It really does help. So, super excited about my $30 purchase. My $30 purchase. It's like I bought this one and all the rest was free because it was couch money. I found yarn in my couch. You can't tell me that's not pretty. It's just, it's... And one of the caveats for me buying yarn is I have to be able to touch it and rub it and feel it and not get the ick factor. There are so many wool yarns on the market that just feel like sandpaper. Like I have had some Knit Picks yarn run in my hands, and like Knit Picks Highland wool feels disgusting. I hate it. It's so scratchy. I dyed some of it back in the day and I marked it for a significantly lower price because I could not stand the way that wool felt. I don't like some of the wools from Universal Yarns or Premier Yarns even. Like they have a wool that's 100% wool. I hate the way it feels. I can't remember what the name of it is. I hate the way it feels. It feels so icky, yucky, gross. So unless it's like a soft, like really nice superwash merino or something like that, I don't even bother because I know that I can't use it because it bothers my skin. It gives me like the cringe ick factor, but it also causes issues with my skin. But again, when you go to a local yarn shop, you don't, like, this is $8. Is it a lot of yardage for $8? No. But if you want to dip your toes in with a fancy, more bougie style yarn, go with like an $8 skein. Don't like go straight in for the $30, $40 skeins. Because this was just, that was an extra gift to myself. And I know not everybody can afford that. And right now I can't even afford it. But because I had the extra couch money in there, like, you know, YOLO. I had to buy it. So I'm going to put it on my shelf where the big empty space is, where all the Koigu was that I used up. And I'm going to start planning making myself, and it's not even, and I know some people gave me a hard time about this sweater because they really love it, and I understand that. But sometimes I just make things for myself because I want to, because I can, because my whole life is not work. And so I, every once in a while, just want to make something out of the fancy, expensive yarn that's just for me, that I can wear and show off to you and say, hey, look at this. This is fantastic. There are not a lot of, even still, there's not a whole lot of plus size patterns that go up to 5X, because I'm a 3X right now. There's not a lot of plus size patterns that go beyond even a 2X that are in these fancy yarns. So I can't even really link to patterns for you guys because I'm making this stuff up as I go along, and this was so complicated to make that I couldn't share with you the pattern anyway, because it was so, I was making it up as I went along. My battery's about to die, but I wanted to share with you my beautiful yarn porn for today, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.